I haven't made any videos over the last couple months really because I have been feeling really, really down about myself and just really shitty in general. It's been fucking wonderful. Anxiety is just a lovely fucking thing to deal with, you know? And yeah, I just have had no motivation to put out any content. But this is a video that I felt needed to be made because I really hope that it helps someone. I'm going to try and make it as short as possible. But um, last year I dealt with an issue involving my chest being tight and being hyper aware of breathing. I was actually manually breathing um, because I was afraid that I wasn't getting enough air. So I'd sit there and take like big gasps and shit trying to get air when in reality I'm getting too much. That's usually the case when you feel like that. In my situation, my chest would be tight all the time. I would hyper focus on my breathing. I'd manually breathe nearly all day, every single day for a few months. It was one of the scariest things I had to fucking deal with. It was just a nightmare, and I just want to go over a couple things that I think helped me. The first one, it was primarily two things. Hopefully there's a couple others that'll help you, but two things that really worked for me was the first, playing video games, specifically any sort of like strategic video game, such as Sudoku or like a Brain Age game. One that I like to play is Hearthstone. It's a nice strategy card game, really gets you thinking on how you can defeat your opponent's minions and get his health down to zero. And it's a fun game. It definitely involves a lot of strategy and gets you thinking. But yeah, if you're into video games and there's a game that you really, really like, play it. I mean, if you're going through shit with like, if you're hyper focused on stuff, try and play a video game and see if that shifts your attention over. I admit it's not going to work 100% of the time. Of course it's not, you know, anxiety's a fucking asshole. It's not just gonna go away super easy. But it did work for me, from time to time. I'd say probably about half the time it would work, but it's better than nothing. It really is. And even if you're not a gamer, find a phone game. Go on the Play Store, find a phone game that you think is interesting. Again, like Sudoku. I'm sure you can find Sudoku on the Play Store, or whatever fucking games that you see advertised on YouTube. You see all that shit about like War of something, Clash of Clans bullshit. Like, just try and find something. See if something interests you. Puzzle game. Just try something. Chess, checkers. Even if you're not a huge gamer, just try it. See how it works. See if you fall into it and enjoy it. Anything to get your mind off of the breathing. Anything to get your mind off of that shit. The second thing that really helped me out with this was talking. Talking to anyone, a friend, a relative, a coworker. Literally just talking to anyone. One of the biggest problems I had was when I was struggling with this, and I still do from time to time, but it's nowhere near as bad as before. But when I was really struggling with this, I was always isolating myself. I was always just sitting alone, constantly ruminating on this shit. And again, it would be day in and day out. I'd get up, be hyper focused on it, and I wouldn't be talking to anyone. I wasn't at work at the time. I wouldn't be talking with anyone really. So I'd sit there all day, just constantly ruminating about the symptoms and the sensations, about my chest being tight, being focused on the breathing. Felt like I was possibly going to die. I wasn't getting enough air. But when I would actually talk to someone, I noticed that it took that focus, it shifted my focus towards the conversation that I was having with that individual. And I noticed it really helped when I was in the behavioral health program that I went through. As a partial hospitalization program for anxiety. And I noticed when, because I did a fuck ton of talking in that program. It was like 6 hours a day. There was a bit of downtime in between there, but it was group sessions, individual sessions, involved a lot of talking, obviously. And I noticed after a while, I kind of became desensitized to it, where I didn't really focus on it that much anymore, because I was focused on what was going on in the program and focused on what they were telling me to do. And after I discharged from it, I still suffer from anxiety really, really bad, and I'm hoping I can find something to help. But that was one thing that program did help. It did shift my focus away from those chest issues and breathing issues. Every now and then, I'll become hyper aware of my breathing, and I know it's just anxiety. I tell myself that. Sometimes it gets fucking out of hand where I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die. It still happens. I'm not completely out of the woods with that yet, but I'm doing a much better job telling myself that yes, it is just anxiety. I just need to shift my focus. That's all I need to do. And every single time I do it, it has helped. It's like, oh, yep, see, that was just anxiety. I was able to shift my focus. We're all good. Will it come back? Of course it fucking will, because anxiety's a bitch. But I'm able to better handle that now. But I'm hoping that I can take that and focus on getting a grip on the adrenaline rushes that I suffer with. It's the most debilitating fucking thing I deal with. And I'm hoping one day I can overcome it. And it's been really, really hard. And it's just really, really gotten me down because I've dealt with it for so long. And I just hope that one day I'm able to get over it. But I'm really, really sorry for ranting and making this video longer than it probably needs to be. But I just want to talk about that for anyone struggling with being hyper aware of like breathing, chest tightness. That's all anxiety related. These were a couple things that helped me. Playing video games, any sort of game. It doesn't even have to be a fucking video game. It can be a board game. If somehow there's a single player board game, do it. And then just talking to someone. Just try and do things that you actually enjoy. Find things that you genuinely enjoy and do it for a while. Get yourself out of the rumination and don't isolate. It's one of the worst things you can do is isolate, and I still do it every now and then, but not as much as I used to, and it's definitely a good thing. But yeah, that's really about it. Those are the two biggest things I can recommend. And if you're really struggling, of course, seek out help. I'm just trying to make this video in hopes that it gets out to someone who can relate to it. And that someone who struggles with the same things that I did, basically. And yeah, that's really about it. I think I might start making some more videos talking about this stuff because I feel like it's really important. I'll still make the bullshit gaming videos and all that stuff, and I do want to kind of start up my fantasy football, fantasy basketball stuff again for sports. So I might do that. I really hope that this really helps someone, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, I guess. All right, take it easy, guys.